Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I've been doing some work out here, and matter of fact, I thought this morning, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a video talking about the eBay user agreement because there's so much juicy stuff in there. And I think a lot of it could be really very telling and should help us in going in certain directions. And then I'm like, yeah, well, I've got time today. There's not a lot of sales. And then sales just exploded. We've got 21 for like over $1,000, I think. Some really cool ones, a couple of really high priced ones I'm excited about. And so I said, you know what, we're going to narrow it down. I'm going to pick out one topic out of that user agreement that I think is important for eBay resellers. And we're going to talk about that today. Let's go take a look. You know, I've heard the arbitration thing, forced arbitration as opposed to any kind of legal dispute with eBay, get a lot of play. I'm not going to get into that. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially for smaller players like most of us are. Do I have that light on? It feels dark back here. The issue I am going to get into, this just got in here, is going to be, maybe it surprised you, but there's two separate things in there that combine together that make me think, not differently, it actually confirms something I've thought for a while, but maybe should make some other people think differently about how to list things on eBay. This is a Nightmare Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it's done by Funko, which, you know, all Funko stuff's terrible, which most of it is. This sold for $28.95 plus shipping. How you doing, bud? Where's your brother at? This, honestly, y'all, I'm so glad that these sales came in as fast as they did. Not just because I like sales, but because it saved me from talking about the arbitration thing and really got me to talk about what I want to talk about today, which is going to be not just about item location, but searchability of your eBay items. This is a big deal, and I think it might explain some things that have happened in the past and what will probably continue to happen in the future. I bought this for $33. This is, you know, that's why I really never try to buy, unless the item is super expensive, like $10,000. I'm try to pay no more than 33% on an item. This is an item I figured I could list for $90, $100, something like that, and be perfectly okay with it. And I listed, I think, for $99.95, something like that. Because if it doesn't sell at that price that I've got it, which I think is a good comp, it can go on the 30% off sale 200 days later, and it'll sell. And it did for just a tick under 70 bucks, 69 something. So about buying it a third allowed me to put it on discount, get it gone 33 into 70, which is not amazing, but it's still a nice profit right there. Mario Lemieux, perfect time to sell at hockey season as well. 69 and change plus shipping. All right, I've got this, I'm carrying it here. I'm gonna get into the topic, but I gotta show you one more item first. And this is, honestly, I would have paid the asking price had I had known how good this was. I just simply didn't know, and I could have extracted more money from this sale. This is the box that it came in, by the way. I bought it. Skylander discs, $50 is what they had on it, and then they had another Disney Infinity one for $50. And I'm like, yeah, I can make some money off of this, but how about two for $75? And they said yes. And I'm well into the hundreds already just on the video games, and I still haven't sold them all. And we have two giant lots of these and Disney Infinity, and then smaller lots that we did pull out. We didn't part out every piece. Literally, it would have taken over a day to get this stuff listed, and another day to ship it all individually and stuff over time, and I could have extracted more money, but time is money too. And so I'm not going to show you this. Maybe I'll put a picture of it or something up. This is a huge lot, but it was not all of them that were in this box. In this box were these, lots of video games, and more Skylanders that we took out and did something different with. So this turned out to be an amazing buy, probably an $800 buy when it's all said and done, in like 9 listings, something like that is my guess. This one sold, I put it on auction. I'm like, just get them out of here, give them a good deal. Could have parted them out for way more, but I wanted people to look at the auction, figure out what was in there, and be like, okay, I'm gonna do good on this, I want this, I can sell this, whatever. And just get it gone in a week. Sold for, this was a big one, y'all, $194.50 plus shipping. So I think we've all known for quite some time that, you know, searchability is no guarantee. You list an item and then you try to find your item. Sometimes it doesn't show up. There's all kinds of different strange stuff that's like my items aren't showing, they're not getting impressions, my sales are way down, then they're up, then there's all kinds of things like that. We've all known that, but we don't really understand it. I think this user agreement gets a little bit more of a glimpse, especially when it talks about searchability in there. And I'm not going to go digging through it. Literally, you could make like 6 videos about the different topics that are in this user agreement. And I think the one that I find most interesting is they start saying things like, if you list an item, you might not see it. It might be hours. It might be a day later before you see it. It might be, other issues. The duration of your listing is not guaranteed. There's all kinds of different criteria and different things. It seems to me very clear that eBay is going heavier into the AI and the computer brain and all the stuff to match the right buyer with the right seller to extract as much money. Or let me rephrase that, because it's not always as much money. It's as much smart money out of them and protect against different things in the process. And it also will, in my opinion, will push out sellers who do things in certain ways. Then I'll tell you exactly what those ways are, and you'll be benefited by it. But if you really read between the lines, I'm just going to pick one topic out, and that's going to be location of the item itself, and kind of extrapolate out into how that might affect how you do listings. And I might be wrong about it, but it is definitely worth, in my opinion, spending a little time going over this user agreement and processing the stuff, the controversial stuff about arbitration and whatever. I think that's slightly overblown. Let's just be honest with you. And come on. How many of us are going to, I'm suing eBay over, whatever. Unless it's a big amount of money and you're a big player, I don't think it makes that much difference. And they're trying to get that control back because litigation is expensive. If you go way back with me on this channel, you remember I used to do quite a bit more. I did some free shipping. I still do a very little bit of free shipping, but I did a lot of calculated shipping. And I always made the argument, and it's a legitimate argument. And by the way, I don't do that anymore, and I'm not trying to tell people what to do as far as the right thing. I think it truly is different for different people, especially based on where you live, and I believe that more than ever now. So when I used to do the calculated shipping, I would make the argument, man, I don't want somebody in California to buy my giant receiver, because in the chance that thing is coming back to me, I got to pay for that shipping back too, and I don't want to put that kind of risk on myself. So putting calculated shipping on it was really a giant, because eBay would overcharge obviously for the shipping, and I'd make money, quote unquote, but I wouldn't, because very few people out there bought it because the shipping was outrageous, because it was calculated. This is a same little Five Nights at Freddy's Funko Pop lot. That one sold for $32, is that right? $33.20 plus shipping. Both sold pretty quick. I used to make, all those arguments for that side of the equation. It's just, now I make other different arguments for doing flat rate shipping, for instance. Look, there's good arguments in both categories. There's also good arguments for free shipping. So there's bad arguments for it. This is just what works for me based on my location and stuff. And ever since I've started doing my flat rate shipping, and I don't mean for you new sellers out there that I use USPS flat rate boxes. Totally different thing. It means I use set prices, and I lose some and I win some. And a lot of times when they go out west, I lose a little bit, or I don't make very much, or I don't cover my shipping supplies or whatever. But I have seen, I believe this to be true, because the cost shows lower to people, that my items are being shown more because of that. And I keep my shipping low. At least, very reasonable. I occasionally lose a little bit. And the sales price for the item goes up a little bit. I think that's part of the whole system that people are looking at. That's not to say if you live in a heavily populated area, if you live in the West Coast, for instance, and you don't want to be shipping it all the way across country, and it's still heavily populated in Southern California, New York, Texas, whatever, Florida, there's definitely different options for different people that will work. And I think that's why I'm very adamant about saying this is this is the best way to do it, and you got to do it this way. I really think that it's totally different for different people, and I think the algorithm knows that too. Let's just think about this for a second. Amazon's got these places all over the country where if somebody buys something, it's going to ship from the closest place. It might get there that day, it might get there the next day, it might get there 2 days later, but they're quick. Now, obviously, eBay cannot do that for obvious reasons. They're not shipping the stuff out. And Amazon, I realize there's fulfilled by merchant and all that stuff, but they're not sending it out. So they can't control that. Or can they? And I think they can to a certain degree. They want that, you know, people are accustomed to this Amazon stuff and getting it quickly and whatever. And eBay's a little slower, and they're never going to be that fast. But they can make improvements. And I think they're using item location versus item location of the buyer, and they're really going to incorporate it, which might hurt some of you folks out there in, say, I don't know, Alaska, which is really unfortunate. But I could be wrong, but I definitely think that that's the case. This is Skylanders Imaginators. It sold for $28.95 plus shipping. Just profit on top of profit. This was a great buy. I got so lucky. I mean, think of it this way. If eBay is now saying, you know, they're basically saying we're picking and choosing. We know this, y'all. We know this because the comps that I see now, depending on how I look them up in different ways, it doesn't even matter which filter they use. I'm not seeing all the comps out there. It's harder to do ASP on it too, by the way, just for the record. Because they're, you know, and I'm not saying I love it. I don't necessarily love the new search. You know, I want to, as a buyer, be able to search by lowest, you know, first plus shipping first. I want to see all the options. But, you know, it looks like they're really manipulating that. And part of it I agree with. I mean, let's just face it. Buyer experience is huge to get buyers to come back. But part of it is a little frustrating. So I would say that if you're eBay and you have the option to put an item in front of people's eyeballs or a series of items in front of people's eyeballs, you want to give them a good deal because you want return customers. It's not like eBay is going to put the highest priced item out there in front because we get to collect more fees. Honestly, I think that they know the buyers well too, and they'll incorporate, you know, what is this person willing to sell? I know it gets crazy to think that this stuff can all be done by some kind of AI, but I think that's where we're headed. And, you know, when I search as a buyer, like I said, I want to get the best deal. And to some degree, I think they want to put that best deal out there, but they want to put the best experience out there too, matching them up with the correct sellers, matching them up with the item that will get there quickly. I had another thought along these lines too that might explain it a little bit, but let's just say that there are two items that are identical in price, totally identical. Like free shipping identical, $69.95 for this Barbie doll, $69.95 for this Barbie doll. And eBay has the choice to put one of them, this isn't how it works, but I'm just doing a hypothetical, put one of them in front of a buyer's eyes who, say, lives in North Carolina. And one of those items is located in North Carolina, and one of them is located in Seattle, Washington. Which one would they put in front of those person's eyes? You'd put the one in North Carolina. It's the best buyer experience, going to get it there quickly, unless that seller has a terrible track record of shipping poorly or gets lots of complaints or any of those things, then they may switch it if there's only two of them out there. And I think that you're going to see more and more and more of this stuff, and it might cause even bigger swings in the eBay sales, which is disappointing. But if we change our practices a little bit, I think we can avoid a lot of that. And let's extrapolate that a little further and give some maybe ridiculous arguments, but honestly, I don't think there are. And I highly suggest people go read through this user agreement. I really think that there's some hidden gems in there, not necessarily things you agree with, but things that you can read and use in your practices of listing items that will really put you ahead of the ball game. And remember, they are speculative in nature. I'm not saying this is the way it is. I just love to read between the lines of things and look out into the future, what the heck's going on. Vietnam veteran and proud of it. Nice hat, very good condition. This is riding up a little bit, but it needs bent down. And foam all around, a really sweet looking hat right here, made in Taiwan. And this one sold for $16.95. Plus shipping, that's 3 hats in 2 days. Now, obviously, we've known, you know, if you promote your listings and they'll be shown more and all that stuff. And I hate that crap, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't like to promote listings. I like to have it straightforward. But it's the world we live in at this point. So let's just, we already know there's manipulation. It's not a straight search like it was, say, 10 years ago or 5 years ago even. It's definitely not that. But let's just do a hypothetical here to see how this thing might play out. Let's say that there is a giant snowstorm that wipes out power in North Dakota. They're pretty prepared for it up there. I'm just giving hypotheticals. It's December 15th, and it just decimates this area. Or hurricane in Florida, or there's just whatever. you know, this algorithm, you know, post offices not even being able to operate or whatever, and people not being able to get out and get to the post office, whatever the case may be. At that point, do you want to put items in front of your buyers that are going to be delayed? Maybe it's a post office that's run really, really poorly, or there's something going on at that particular hub or something, and there's a backup or something, and they really throttle sales from that area because they don't want to deal with it. These are real things that are going to be all put into this system, in my opinion. They're certainly preparing us for it. And maybe this is a slightly different argument here, but I think that the technology is there to do that. And in some cases, I don't blame eBay for doing that. Now, that might cause quite a bit of harm to some sellers, but it also might boost others at different times of the year. There's all kinds of different factors. And I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just giving you a couple examples just to encourage you to read that update a little bit. I think you will find that if you really think about where you're located, where your buyers are mostly located, how you do shipping, calculated, free, or flat rate, all these things will factor in. And there's even some other hidden gems in there that might cause you to list things in a certain way, take pictures in a certain way that really will help you and put you in front of your competition. And honestly, that no guarantee of duration and stuff, that stuff's concerning. I just hate the fact that, you know, eBay can take something down that they don't deem as a good listing or been up too long or something like that. It causes a whole lot of work on our side to delist, relist, make sure that stuff doesn't happen, and to do inventory and all that. I don't know if it's something they could fix. That's awful, in my opinion, to have something that's been listed for a year or something and then had taken down. You don't know, it's sitting in a bin, not even available for anybody to see. And that, you know, the Mercari stuff, where if you don't sell it in the first whatever days, it pretty much disappears, kind of thing. And I hate that. From an eBay business standpoint, I might could understand it, but from a seller standpoint, they got to do better than that. The Jetsons, this is crazy to me, y'all. I paid $1 for these. These are size small Jetsons. I don't know the brand name. I think that's important too, because they did a bunch of different stuff. Swimming trunks. That's what they are. Size small Jetsons swimming trunks. $75 plus shipping. I remember putting that on a video, on a Commonwealth picker video a little while back. I bought those in Florida for $1. And I had 2 or 3 people like, you're such a joke, you're a scammer, you're whatever. Nobody's ever going to buy those swim trunks for that. That's your own comp, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I think it'll sell. There's comps. I've got things out there that tell me this is where I need to list it. And we got full price, $75 for those plus shipping. You ever been to a yard sale and the prices are so good and you're early and you just start buying? It's like you don't even care. You know you've got a winner in there somewhere and it's going to all pan out in the end. That was one of these sales. It was like $1, $5, $2. And I just kept buying and buying and buying. And I'm like, that's not something I typically buy. But I think, I'm like, if it doesn't sell, my wife would love this mister at Essence of Cool 18-volt Cool Cave misting kit at Turner's Games or something in the summer. I'm like, if it doesn't sell, I'll give it to my wife. But it sold, and it sold quickly for $42.95 plus shipping. I think I paid $2 for it. That's a pretty good deal. I was out on a fairly slow day a couple weeks back, and I decided to go to a thrift store, a little mom and pop thrift store in town. And I don't go there often, but I'm glad I did. I found a couple of really good items and then some supplemental items. This is what I would consider a supplemental item, and I can't remember. I think I paid $4, but I can't remember. This 21 Pilots backpack. I would have never looked at it because it was a slow day and I started typing in stuff. And I'm like, $4, yeah, okay. $18.99 for that one plus shipping. I'm like, that's worth it. Easy to ship. I'd also say that it's probably more important than ever. Your numbers, your, feedback score, your, what else? I mean, you're not necessarily your ASP, your numbers we think of, but the numbers that eBay cares about, the INAD numbers, I don't know. What are the other numbers on the dashboard? My mind's going blank, but all your numbers that really describe you as a seller, I think, are more important than they've ever been. And how you ship and how you treat customers and whatever. I think all of that stuff is going to come into play. How long you've been selling might benefit us. I think this may hurt some earlier sellers and their items being pushed out unless you've got some other things like the price is right, the location is right for those particular buyers, might hinder them in getting going really strong, and at the same time help more experienced sellers. That's not to discourage anybody. I don't think any of this stuff is so big of a deal that it's going to stop certain people from selling. I think we're more or less looking at the fringes of this and how we can take advantage of it and use it in our favor. I could be wrong, and feel free. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who tell me I'm wrong in the comments, because that happens even when I'm right. Sirocco, this is a little MCM. That's a nice one, in good shape, good color. And that little Sirocco wall hanging sold for $16 plus shipping. I just realized that one of those Five Nights at Freddy's lots earlier was a viewer sale while I was looking for the Inaman, which is obviously a viewer sale. Kevin, huge fan here. I'm getting these for my youngest son who is crazy about Five Nights at Freddy's. Also, I have a hat that I want to send you. Is that okay? Of course. P.O. Box 1427, Bedford, Virginia, 24523. Keep up the good work. You have helped me so much, learned so much about reselling. God bless you and your family. Wesley, the Happy Hunter 87 on eBay. We appreciate it. I hope he enjoys them. This is a monumentous day. I have been putting Inaman over on Divdit.com, but I decided to throw one back over here on eBay. And the original Inaman right there. And the one on Divdit sold for more than the one on eBay. Amazing. Thank y'all for the support over there. It's been so fun. And that one sold to Gerald, I think. Yep. And I hope he gets things moving for you. Maybe that should be part of their algorithm. If they see an Inaman in a picture of an item, they should really boost it. Coach bag sold. It was a really good one. I think I paid $20 for it, so I was pushing it a little bit, but it did sell and made me a profit. And here it is right here. Really good condition on this Coach bag. And it is high quality, really nice. Sold for $64. I mean, not a flaw. Well, a little bit down there, not much on there. $64 plus shipping. And old reliable sales again. Go to that Harley bin. Always good for a sale. They're all very small sizes though, or small sizes. And I found the correct one here. Pretty cool. These are awesome. I like them a lot. And I'll double check the picture to make sure, but it is a size small. I think we only have 3 of these left. And it sold for $30.35 plus shipping. Sold an old baseball glove. I used to pick these up all the time, put them in my antique booth, $5, $10, something like that, and they would sell. And I still occasionally pick them up, but a lot of them aren't worth too much. And I don't mean baseball gloves in general. I don't think this is the right one. Or is it? I have to check it out. This is a mag one, because I thought I just bought this one, but I thought this was an older one. Anyway, I'll have to look it up, but paid just a couple bucks for it, I think. Super sweet lady, maybe 3. And I knew it wouldn't be great, but it still sold. $13.96 plus shipping, so not a big profit, but it was the first sale of the day. Sometimes I like to break the ice, and then I start buying like crazy, looking at prices, and I think that was the first one I looked at. So maybe a $8 profit is all. All right, definitely not the right one. This is the right one. And I have no idea where I got it, and it's been in there forever. Because it was 30% off, so who knows? I don't even remember getting this from anywhere. But it's good shape for an old glove. It actually worked. A little kid could use that for sure. This one has not been listed for long. Let's see if I can get it out of here without knocking stuff over. See that mushroom? As long as we can make it without the mushroom falling, we're good. I don't even have that mushroom listed. I like it so much. I don't have that Warren Cherry Pie sealed listed either. Creepy Towers, $22.95 for that one, plus shipping. Sold another hat, so 4 in 2 days, which is making me really happy. I told you it's the time to sell hats. And it's the time to sell Hawaiian t-shirts. And t-shirts in general. San Francisco, so this is a Golden State Warriors hat. I've had it a long time, y'all. Sold on 30% off. Sold for $14 plus shipping. I think this was a freebie. I had a friend of mine say, hey, I'm moving, I got all these hats, here you go. I think that's where I got this one. I could be wrong though. Next one, I brought this one in here. I actually thought this would go for a little bit more money. It's a Cowboys back-to-back championship t-shirt, Super Bowl championship t-shirt from 1994. You know it's old because it says Cowboys Super Bowl champion. Sorry, Dallas people. Single stitch, my wife listed it. I don't know, maybe she listed it right. I didn't look up the comps for it, but single stitch cowboy shirt, pretty cool print. I don't think there's anything on the back. Decent size extra large. Made in the, let's see, assembled in Jamaica, USA, made parts. Like what parts? The screen print? Any rate, sold for $19 plus shipping. I sold some moose. This was from a Goodwill buy. I haven't been in Goodwill in forever, so you know this is old. And it sold on 30% off, but it was in a bag full of products, and I saw a couple good products, and this was one of them. I think I paid $6.99 for the bag and had some real winners in there. This one was $22.84. Signature A Club, or Signature Club A Mega Moisturizer Mousse Cleanser. $22 plus. All right, Jim, Commonwealth Comedy Outside, because his football draft's coming up, right? All right, what's your joke?
What is a football player's favorite ice cream?
What is the football player's favorite ice cream? I don't know what.
Any given Sunday.
I like it, bud.
Aye.
I sold some Bulls shorts, some vintage Bulls shorts. I think this is the second viewer sale that it may be third if you count the other one, I suppose. And there they are right there. Size XL, not in a perfect condition, but I paid $1 for them. And they sold for $15. Let me read the comment plus shipping. By the way, this one I said $22, but it's actually $20.97 plus shipping. Dogs came in for just a minute, but they're going back out. All right, here we go. Here is from Carolyn. Howdy from East Central Illinois. It's Carolyn, and I so enjoy shipping. I so enjoy shopping from you. Keep up the great work and keep making yard selling fun. My parents and I have been pickers for a good 50 years. Nice. I bet you could teach me a thing or two. Mom and Dad are both gone and planned 3 or 4, and I planned 3 or 4 big sales. I now live in the old farmhouse. You should come over to Dibdit or Tickwitty and sell over there live with us. Just saying, it's an option. I have lots of antiques. Well, it's kind of hard to ship some of that stuff. Come to Illinois and look. Thanks again for all you do. You truly make a positive experience for us collectors. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say, and I'm sorry you've lost your folks, and I'm sure you'll do what you can to make sure that their treasures are passed on. So thank you, Carolyn. Super excited when this stuff sells because, boy, we had so much of it for so long. We sold most of it pretty quick from the giant Family Guy video buyout with Mike Duffbell Picker and Rod Pickett and Punchin' and Blood, Sweat, and Cell Leroy, my buddies. They came out 2 years ago now. I walked all the way back there because that's where they used to be and then realized that they're not there anymore. They're out here because there's so few left. I think there's 2 right there. Boy, we sold this stuff off. A long time to get some of it gone, but a lot of it just flew out of here. And that's how things are, you know. Stewie's Recipes for Disaster. And then this little coffee morning mindbenders. I don't know if I want to read it. That one sold for a dye martini, vodka put, ripe diaper. Jeez, $16 plus shipping. Reagan has a thank you for some sales out of CommonwealthPicker.com.
Michael got a CWP bag and a Commonwealth Picker sticker or flipper.
That's it. Yeah, pretty sure it was Picker. Thank you, Michael.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
I came out here to get a t-shirt. Look at these dogs. They're being all sly. And it started to rain and my car window's open, so I better go do that first. All right, now we're back. We're walking through the rain at UNC Greensboro. Anvil tag made in USA, single stitch. UNC Greensboro. Trademark. This is an old shirt. I'll tell you what, colleges, especially smaller ones, and this isn't really that small. I remember my first hit ever in college baseball came against Ohio State, not that you care. And I hit it between the pitcher's legs. My second hit came against UNC Greensboro, and I hit it off of the pitcher's leg. I like to hit up the middle. This one sold for $17 plus shipping. All right, tell me what you think of all that, especially if you've read it. I'm curious, what was the one thing in there that stood out to you if you did read the user agreement? And thank y'all for everything you do for us. We've got shows going on all the time. I'm out of town. I'm in town. I'm busy like crazy. And one thing that's constant is I love to sell stuff on eBay, and I love to talk to y'all about it and learn from you guys too. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.